Hey guys, today is Tuesday, March 29th of 2022, and I wanted to go over HIVE, H-I-V-E. It's my crypto play, and I want to go over some cycles and see what could potentially happen in the next couple of months. So as usual, I normally start out with the weekly, and we don't really have a lot of data. It kind of reminds me of App Harvest. It was kind of flat 2019, 2020, and then into 2021 got this nice pop into $5 and change, pulled back in July, went up in November, and now pulled back in February. And now it's kind of getting a little bounce. So the dominant cycle here on the weekly chart is 32. So that is positive. So that's good. And it's pretty much one of the strongest cycles, 32 and 40. So that's kind of two, which they're together. This is what 40 looks like. And it peaks out in August, the 40 cycle, and the 32 cycle peaks out somewhere around May. But they're both bullish. You do a composite of both, and then what they kind of tell you is that maybe somewhere around, it peaks out in June here with the composite of 32 and 40. Somewhere around May, June, towards the last week of June. And then there's another cycle that's there, but it's not as strong, but it's still there. And it's 133. And this one is not too good because this one is still bearish. This one hits a trough of around September. There's something just to keep in mind that, this has the potential to continue going lower into October, September, and then find, a bottom, possible bottom, and then continue going up. So if you take the 132 and add the 32 cycle and do a composite, what it shows is that a possible bounce to May and then continue down until September. So just keep that, as a probability. Now, if you add 40, 32, and the 133, you get a bounce till June. It's a peak, and then it pulls back into October. So those are the three cycles. But you take out 133 and have the strong cycles of 32 and 40, it takes you to June. So just keep that in the back of your mind that the cycles are up while there's one that is a little negative, which is this 133. So we'll see how that plays out. Next, we'll go into the daily cycles and see what the daily cycles are saying. Here we have the daily cycles, and there are two important cycles here on HIVE. One is the 162, which is the strongest, the dominant cycle. It's really 159, but there's one that it's 162. You can see that this is the 159, and this up here on the top is the 162. The 162 is up. So what I like to see on the weekly and the daily is that a couple of strong cycles are pointing up in the same direction. That gives me a little more confidence that, there's a probability that this trade could play out to the long side, to the bullish side. I don't want to be going short here. Although on the weekly, there's that 133, like I said, that you have to be cautious. But on the stronger cycles, the 162 is up till May. So you can say May, June. It's peaks. And then there's the 197, which is this one. This one hits a trough in April and it's a peak in July. So if you take 197 and the 162 cycle, they peak out somewhere around June. So cycle-wise, what you want to then write down is that somewhere around May, June, maybe July, you want to give it a little wiggle room. And, I normally try to pick out at least three. I like the number 3. So somewhere around there, maybe leaning that June could be maybe where the peak could hit. But, sometimes that doesn't play out either. So you got either May, June, July. If this thing continues going higher, to be kind of cautious, start, tightening stops, raising your stop And maybe we'll work on some targets up here. But so far, that's what you want to look at for in regards to cycles. Here we have the daily chart of HIVE, and I did a retracement, Fibonacci retracement, and you can see that there's a couple of targets here. Here's the 50%, which is 290. And there also is the 61.8, which is at 339 for possible targets. And also the 786, which is 422. This is demand zone. This is supply right here. Even if it gets all the way up here, we got to be cautious. The highest I believe HIVE has been is $5.60. Can it go higher? Yeah, it could go higher. But you got to be realistic. Wanted to see what the seasonalities indicate on HIVE. Percent of months in which HIVE closed higher than it opened from 2013 to 2022. Like I said, this is a this is a baby stock. The max data we have is 11. I like to use number 10, one of Gann's number. You can see that February is pretty strong. March is all right. April and May are kind of on the weaker side. And then June, compared to, it's almost there. It's not as strong, but it's a little stronger than April, May, and a little stronger than March. Not as strong as February. And then July, August, September is the weakest. So that kind of makes sense in regards to those cycles. If we go into the 5-year, you can see that February is the strongest. June actually is the weakest from the last 5 years. So it's kind of the opposite of what May and June, July. Well, July is kind of flat. It's in between. February and March are the strongest, and January. And everything else is kind of flat. But, it's kind of hard when you don't really have a lot of data. But we go with what we got. So just want to figure I show you what the seasonalities are in HIVE. Here is a weekly chart of HIVE blockchain. And it started trading somewhere around 2007. This is the max historical data I could get, somewhere around maybe October. And as high as it's been $5. So let's see some key levels using retracements. I like to go just to kind of get a gauge. Normally the important stuff is after that high. So we zoom in here. Let's see. We hit the 75%. I know that there was a low of 150, right? Yep. 157, 144. That's 75% level. And then possible target could be that 50%, 288. And if it breaks above that, and we get a weekly close and it continues pushing higher, the next important level be that 383, this 33 and 3%. Then the 25%, 420, 431. Those would be key levels I'll be watching. Using our simple glance chart, we'll start out with the weekly. So using 6-month time frame for the market profile, we see that the value area low was 159, and the point of control was 193. And the value area high, which could be a possible target, is at 378. Remember the last chart I just showed you with the Fibonacci? That kind of lines up with those targets up there. So that's a value area high. The linear regression is still pointing down in the 6-month time frame. You're below the cloud, so there's going to be a lot of fighting to get above and break through all these levels of resistance. First off, got the 20, the 50, then you want to get above on the weekly. Get below the cloud. You got the linear regression channel as resistance. What's bullish is that we're above the mobile band. You guys seen my simple glance setup. You're above the mobile band, so it's green. The trend color trend candle code, or whatever you want to call it, is white, so that's bullish. And you got a PPS buy signal. MACD turned positive all the way back here in February, and it hasn't turned negative yet, and it's still going. Volume is not that bad, so that's what the weekly is looking like. On the daily, it was interesting. You have a Tom D mark, ninth candle, so it could be interesting. Maybe we stall here, maybe we retrace, or maybe we just continue going higher. We have hit the value area high using a 3 months, and you're in the clouds, so it could get a little volatile here. It could get a little wild. You can see that this is some kind of resistance right here, 233. You got the value area high. The good thing is you have a PPS buy signal back here in March the 16th. You got a scalp alert, and the MACD has been not positive from March the 15th. And you got a PPS on the 16th, and it's so far still strong. And the cloud is about to start turning positive. While the linear regression channel is sideways, that means that we just been chopping around. Like I said before, I got in at 170, and so far this is looking good. Using the moving averages, you got the 100 up here, 263, and the 200, which is 277. So it'd be interesting to see if we could get out of the cloud, consolidate, and then continue pushing higher, or maybe just stall here and maybe retrace a little bit. So we'll see. But so far, that's what the simple glance chart is showing. This chart right here is my midpoint chart. I think this might be my last chart, so let's see what we could dissect here. As you can see, the yearly is negative. Let's see where the 50%. Yeah, so you know what? That could be a nice target too. The yearly previous 50% range is 374. So that could be a possible target. This is last year's high, or I guess say maybe, is it? Yeah, I guess say low actually. Last year's low. On the monthly, you can see that we're above the previous month 50% range, which is $2. So that's good. And this is the high of last month, 241. So that's bullish, as you can see. Every time you're above the 50%, that's a good indication that prices are stronger. On the weekly, you're strong. You're above 50% of the previous week. So that's good. And on the daily, let's see, the daily was over here. The daily previous day 50% was 219. So we're above that too. This kind of fluctuates. You could go negative and positive because, the volatility. But the three important ones are the yearly, the monthly, and the weekly. And the daily is a little just sometimes noise. So what's possible target? Big picture, $3.74. And if it goes higher, that 575, which is the high of last year. So that's realistic. I can see that. And on the weekly, if it's really pushes stronger, it could be anywhere between 262 and 283 for this month. Some extensions, pivots. And on the weekly, 246. That's the monthly, 283. So somewhere around there, 283 to 46. If it goes past that, 246 and 283 this week, that means it's really strong. And it's just a matter of time before it could kiss maybe that 374. Anyway, I just want to leave you some thoughts on HIVE. That's my crypto play on the cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin and all that stuff. So hopefully we get to ride this wave up to, May, June, July, around there. and then tighten our stops. And if it turns down, we lock in some gains and play another instrument. Hopefully you like this video. I'll keep you posted on my thoughts on HIVE using double Gann pricing time technical analysis.